This is the USCA American Rules National Championships, October 2021. This is semifinal, game 2, between Matthew Essick, here approaching hoop 2, who won game 1, 26-8. And he's taking on Stephen Morgan, playing blue and black, up in corner 1. Red and black are still not in the game. Yellow and blue are both for hoop 2. We're on court 7 at the National Croquet Center in West Palm Beach. And the deadness board adds clip position, as you can see. These two play each other a lot in the semifinals and finals of both AC and American Rules croquet tournaments. Your tournament director is Rich Curtis, and Brian Hovis is on the camera. Blue and yellow are the only balls in the game, but yellow is not responsible for blue's position, so he can put himself in a wired position with blue without giving him a lift. And in American rules, obviously the lift is to any ball you're live on but wired from, rather than to a balk line in AC. This last series of American Rules videos has gotten some comments from England, Australia, and South Africa. So I may point out some of the salient differences between American Rules and AC as we go along.
This one's not. Do you need it over here for the camera? This is yeah, because I was saying this isn't running right now, so I'll unplug this and I'll get you going. Great. Thank you, sir. Yeah, make sure that works. Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Because in AC, everybody's immediately in the game as soon as they have their first turn. There's none of this going around the lawn making a bunch of hoops with a single ball, at least not in the beginning of the game. That certainly occurs at the end of AC games when each team has one ball pegged out and they're playing a one-ball game. And then the principles of not roqueing the opponent so you're not responsible for it and you can wire from it, etc., pertain. And of course, the one-ball game in AC is used as a tiebreaker and to save time in tournaments sometimes. The out game, which is what red and black are doing, is a lot like golf croquet. Single shot, no continuation shots, and balls out of the game are dead on balls in the game and vice versa. Stephen is one of the best long hoop shooters in the game. Look at his match against Sharif in the Golf Croquet National Championships in 2016. It was on this very court, and he was making hoops from 60 feet away consistently. He is not shooting at yellow for fear of hitting hoop 5 and giving Matthew a 2-ball break, which he's more than capable of taking to the peg. He's just trying to hide because he knows that red's about to come in, and Matthew loves to do the croquet-out maneuver. A lot of people wouldn't take this next shot because blue is guarding the shot, which may be part of why Steven put it there. But Matthew's not a lot of people. Yep, here it comes. Yellow is for hoop 5. Classic croquet out. You get dead on partner, but that partner now has a 3-ball break. Croquet out is especially effective in this situation where the danger ball is out of the game and there's nobody to take the shot at the Pioneer. It's a lot like pegging out the danger ball at the end of the game so that you can set the unhittable lead and there's nobody to take the unmakeable shot. Notice that he didn't get blue as far over toward one back as he probably wanted. I think he's putting red to the east of hoop 6 to give himself more breathing room to get red back to 2 back and get a nice rush on blue than he would have on the other side of 6. I know Sharif is fond of doing this as well. Maybe more a matter of avoiding the furniture than anything else. It's always fun to make one back when the opponent doesn't have any deadness, so you rob them of a clearance. In case you've never been here, the NCC has 12 standard lawns. And then beyond that sign up there is a depressed area where they leave the grass long and play backyard croquet. Here it looks as though Stephen wisely put black off the approach line to the hoop. The only time you can hit a ball out of the game with a striker ball that's in the game is in the course of making a hoop, i.e. two back in this case. If you're trying to get familiar with American rules, that portion of the rule book is worth looking at. And it's on the USCA website. You don't have to be a member to get access to that. Just type in croquet-america.com. The other way you can move a ball that's set up for hoop one is with a cannon, but doing that obviously incurs some deadness, in this case on partner. So let's see how he deals with that and whether he gets any advantage out of knocking black out of position. I don't know whether he left that blue Pioneer short like that intentionally or not, but it's a little like what you would do with the two-back Pioneer if you're planning a death roll and a triple peel at Penult in AC. And now, because black is not in the game and it's in his way, if he hits it, it's a dead ball fault and his turn is over. A ball in the game can have the ball not in the game marked and lifted and vice versa. And it's worth knowing as well that you can't claim a wire on a ball that's not in the game because you're dead on it, because you're allowed to lift it. He actually would have preferred a better rush out of three back to put him over behind red so he'd have a good rush to four back on red, but he's going to try to make it work anyway. And he finally picks up the clip from the start of this turn. I think Steven still has the clip in his pocket too, so they're trying to get everything straight. My deadness board was correct, I'll have you know. Big difference from AC. If a hoop shot goes out, your turn is over. There is pretty good consistency to Matthew's choice of grips and techniques. When he needs to hit it hard, either to hold the line or send the ball a long way, he uses the Solomon grip and grounds the mallet head. If he's doing more delicate stuff, then he uses an Irish grip and he casts. I wonder if he uses the Solomon grip on harder shots because the backswing is freer on a Solomon grip and it doesn't require much effort to get more power into the stroke. Red is for hoop 2 and dead on yellow. So his dividend for getting red dead on partner was 7 hoops. Yellow is cleaning for Rover. Red is right in front of its hoop. And he made 3 hoops after he knocked black out of position from in front of 1. And that ball that was not in the game finally goes back on the court. He may have been trying to wire red from blue, but it looks like he didn't quite get it. 2 ball breaks and rushes. That's all you need to practice. It's said that Robert Fulford once did a 2 ball break for 58 or 63 hoops or some ridiculous number and only stopped because everybody wanted to go to lunch. Oh, yeah, and you got to practice peeling if you're playing AC. Now watch, he wants to keep going here, so he's going to do it under control and use his Irish grip. If he didn't care, he would pound it through with a Solomon grip. Don't feel bad for him. He made 7 hoops on that break, and he's up 20-2. And apropos of nothing, if you start on an odd numbered hoop and you make that same hoop going back the other direction, you've made 8 hoops on your break. If you start on an even numbered hoop and do the same thing, you've made 6.
Make the hard shot.
And now, even though he's up by 18 hoops, he can't afford to let Steven get a break because one break to the peg and an unhittable leave, and control have shifted completely. He was trying not to have that ball go out because he knows what Steven's going to do. That was a spectacular shot. Technically, it's not a croquet out because blue didn't go out, but it has the same effect with the added benefit of allowing you to put the striker ball where you want it, in this case, more or less wired from yellow. He's got to put yellow where it's harder to pick up. And I don't know if he's shooting at that flag, but let's pretend he was.
Hey.
So this is the break Matthew didn't want Steven to get, and let's see what he can do with it. Starts with a peel to get black clean, so the leave at the end of blue's turn will be easier. There is a subtle difference here between AC and American rules. In American rules, you cannot rest the shaft against an arm, a leg, a ground, etc., just like in AC, but you also cannot rest it against the hoop. Whereas in AC, the hoop is not mentioned in the list of things you're not allowed to rest the mallet shaft against. So in AC, you can use the shaft as a sort of lever with the hoop as a fulcrum, whereas in American rules, you cannot. Notice where black ends up. Once again, when you try a hard cut shot, if you hit it straight, it's going out. Not a problem in AC, but end of turn in American rules. But at least in American rules, you don't get dead on that ball because you never got to be ball in hand on it. You can't actually see him do it, but he's putting blue and black clips on 5. Black never made hoop 4. He peeled it through 3 and sent it as a pioneer to 5. So now we have a misplaced clip situation.
No thanks.
Matthew was trying to hit yellow because red is for penult, and black was sitting out there where he could have used it to get that done.
Exactly, no problem. I'll be walking around here trying to take care of everyone.
And now you can see the blue and black clips on 5.
Out of bounds.
This board shows black for 4, which it is, but the black clip is on 5. When it's clear they're not going to fix that, then I'll change it. Leaving black for red. And because black took off on the boundary side of blue, blue's off the boundary enough that it's easy to pick up. Blue is for 5, so it's doubly important that Matthew makes sure he's not going to give it a wiring lift if he stuffs this hoop. Another difference from AC, you make rover and 5 in the same direction in American rules, which means that on a rover shot, you can accidentally peg out, which is impossible in AC. Pretty close. And now, assuming the under 65 wire checking position, he just does that to make me feel bad. It takes 3 people to help me get out of that position. Matthew just called timeout to do a more thorough inspection of whether blue is wired from both of those balls up by corner 1. If it's not, then he can safely wire yellow from blue without giving up a lift. If you wanted to bring out a ball and do a formal wiring test, in American rules, that is permitted anytime. In AC, you can only bring out a ball and do a formal test at the beginning of your turn. Otherwise, you just have to eyeball it and make your best guess. AC players use rush and stop shot like this a lot more than American rules players, who will sometimes more frequently just do a short croquet and a takeoff. Not surprising from the guy who finished second to Reg Bamford in the World Championships. Now this time maybe he gets a little sympathy. Stevens got a real opportunity here.
He was calling for somebody to watch him. Look, he came through. He has 3 balls there and can't hit any of them. Black or blue to fly.
So now Stevens going for the hoop that has his misplaced clip on it. And you're not to intervene if you know somebody's going for the wrong hoop. But in this case, if you know that's the wrong hoop, then you also know it's a misplaced clip, and you have an obligation to announce a misplaced clip as soon as you notice it. Had there been a board keeper, and I'm surprised there wasn't for a semifinal game, they certainly would have noticed it and fixed it a long time ago. But neither player noticed it, no spectator noticed it, so Nothing was done about it. This is the point at which one can intervene because he's about to take an unearned continuation shot. But somebody doing that would have to convince everybody that they hadn't noticed the misplaced clip, and that would be a stretch. So, because it never did get noticed, we'll ignore it from here on out.
Get you another? Yes, please. Thanks.
Black made 3 hoops. Yellow will take the one back clearance. So theoretically, because black is live on the spent ball red, if blue hits this shot, he could run a 2-ball break, pick up the opponent balls on the way, peg out yellow, and give red to black to let it run a break to the peg and win the game. But honestly, it's probably just a matter of time before red and yellow close this out. shooting at the only ball he's live on. And the last of the AC-US rules differences, if he had rushed red into the peg, in AC his turn would have been over, not that it would have hurt anything. In American rules, if he rushes that ball into the peg, red's out of the game and yellow gets to be placed anywhere 9 inches from the peg, and he has 2 shots to hit the peg from 9 inches. And with a 26-11 win in Game 2, Matthew takes the semifinal from Stephen Morgan, 2-0.